Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we're going to do something we don't normally do, which is directly respond to something that someone else has said. It's very rare we do that, actually do a complete response to an opinion piece, which is what this was that I saw, and it was Bell of Lost Souls. I know, I've brought up the name. I'm not going to bother linking the article, you can find it if you like, but it basically boils down to Games Workshop's new models. They're fine, delightful new models, are killing kit bashes and conversions. And I have a mild issue with this. As you may know, I do like a bit of converting and a bit of kit bashing. In fact, I have here in front of me a kit bash for an Emperor's Children Terminator with fucking fabulous hair. Look at that hair on that head right there. So this is an Adeptus Custodes Alaris Terminator. It has a Deathwing Apothecary arm, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's a Grey Knight arm. That is a Storm Bolter from Betrayal at Calth, I want to say. That is the blade off an Adeptus Custodes Guardian Spear. I don't know why I did that. You poke people with it. The shoulder pads, those are Custodes. Nice plume on the back, again Custodes. A nice bit of spiky spike from some Chaos sprue or other. A bunch of spikes, again taken from the top of the Guardian Spears. The helmet is from a Gravis Armor Captain. And the plume is actually from, I believe if I remember correctly, that is off the head of a Demonette. I think it's a Demonette. Might be a different one. I can't remember. But there's quite a lot of... Oh, and just a chain on the back. Again, Chaos Vehicle. That is one of 5 such Terminators, all of which have had the absolute shit kit bashed out of them, because that's what I like to do. That's one of the things I enjoy most about the hobby. And the article rubbed me up the wrong way, primarily because it was either badly researched, or it was not thought through, or it was designed just to annoy people. It could be any number of these things, and you can tell that I'm right in my convictions of these, because the light of the Emperor is blasting the shit out of me through the window. Thanks very much, weather. Essentially, the gist of it is that we are getting new amazing models that are monopose. They are monopose, they are not easily broken down, they are not posable, and therefore it's killing conversions, it's killing kit bashes, it is impossible to do anything with these models. And my overall general feeling towards this is that that is absolute bollocks. The idea that you cannot kit bash or convert monopose models is slightly between just disappointingly unimaginative and just outright laughable. It's just wrong. I have right in front of me, in fact this. Okay, let's take an example of a monopose kit, and the fact that you cannot convert or kit bash a monopose kit. So this, admittedly, this is Age of Sigmar, but it doesn't matter. It's the same principle applied to both systems, both games, both sets of models. So this is Neve Black Talon. Now, obviously, this has already had a little bit of a kit bash going on, because what I did was I took off the hand axes that Neve Black Talon has, and I stuck a Chaos Maul on instead, because she was a former... This is a D&D character model. I don't actually have Stormcast, but I really liked this, and it suited my Paladin, because it's massive and looks beefy as hell. So that's all that was. Just a simple weapon swap. I just drilled out the hand, and I just stuck the haft of the weapon into the hand. Nice and simple. Easy. I mean, this is a monopose kit. I'm pretty sure, I seem to remember that the arms come connected to the torso, or at least they are, they're not easily reposable at all. And the whole thing sticks together so that the legs are already attached. You don't attach the top to the waist. It's all just one chunk. This is that same model. But you'll note that the arms are totally different. The weapon is totally different, and although the running pose is the same, the overall look of the upper body is a little bit different because of the different arms that have been put on. And that was achieved by chopping the arms off the original model, taking arms from a different Stormcast Eternal model, a little bit of green stuff, a little bit of pinning, and that would be a monopose model that has had some kit bashing done to it, thereby suggesting that saying that you cannot kit bash or convert monopose models is bollocks, because right there. Another good example, which unfortunately I don't have with me right now, is the current model for my Paladin, which uses the easy-to-build set of... What are they? Not Liberators. Whatever they are. More Stormcast Eternal, more Sigmarines. That, I do class not as a kit bash, but as a conversion, because I had to chop that thing to pieces, and it has gone from having a small... I think it's like a little maul and a shield, to having a giant maul in a reposed arm. It was a pain in the arse to do, but that, again, is a monopose model that was quite easily kit bashed / converted. Another example, if another example is needed at this point. I mean, after all, we're talking 40k primarily, although they just pretty much refer to Games Workshop. This is the monopose model that you got out of Betrayal at Calth. It's the Contemptor. You will note that the horrendous static leg pose is gone. It does not have the horrendous static leg pose anymore, because it's been chopped up and converted so that one leg is back, so it looks like it's walking. You'll also note that despite being a monopose Contemptor, one of the arms is completely different because it's been replaced by a giant claw. This was for an ill-fated Nurgle project I started. The paint job is vile. It's disgusting, really. But a bit of green stuff, a bit of spikes, a Tyrannid weapon there, and a bit of cutting with a saw, and suddenly that monopose model that you're not supposed to be able to convert or kit bash has been converted / kit bashed. You see where I'm going with this. It also doesn't help that there are specific examples used as to disappointing things that can't be converted or kit bashed because they're monoposed, like the Eleusidian Starstriders. The author was kind of excited to see what they could do with them because they like the kit, they like the models. They're excited to see the sprues. What could they do? Oh, they're all like individual characters. They're all monopose. This is bad. It's not bad because it's Kill Team. For a start, the Eleusidian Starstriders are a specific rogue trader group. It's not a general rogue trader kit. Kill Team is supposed to be a narrative skirmish game focusing on smaller units. That's the whole point. And the Eleusidian Starstriders are named that because they are a specific group within the rogue trader umbrella, so to speak. So the argument that is a good example of Games Workshop taking away, ability to customize doesn't really work with the fact that they are supposed to be characters. They are actually specific people. That's the point. That's actually what they are. Now, you can argue, okay, Kiri, fine, but you used to be able to get posable HQs and posable characters. That's true. You did used to be able to get that. And for as long as I can remember, you also had characters that you couldn't do that with. The argument that this is a new thing, that Games Workshop are moving into loads of monopose models and you can't customise HQs anymore, for instance, that was another thing that was mentioned in the article, the fact that Primaris Captain is so limited in what you can do with him, I think was a specific example. It might have been from one of the comments. Either way, you absolutely can do what you like with that model. It's just a little more tricky than just swapping an arm out. Yeah, the pose might be similar to other people's, but you can still customize it and make it your own. That's the whole point of a conversion. A conversion is not limited by the model that you start out with. It's used as a basis for what you want to do with it. Saying, oh, I wanted to buy this model to convert it into something else, but then I found out it was just in one pose. So still use it. Use it in that pose. Use parts from it. If you want to repose it, cut it in half, take legs from another model, and then green stuff around it. If the main complaint is, oh, the arms are attached to the torso, so it's no good for conversions, just fucking chop the arms off and use different arms. It's just weird. It's just a weird attitude to have that Games Workshop are attempting to kill off converting or kit bashing on the basis that they're producing more monopose models, when at the same time, talking of sticking other arms on, we have a bunch of kits now that have got an insane range of conversion and kit bashing possibilities. I mean, have you looked at the Necromunda range as a whole? Have you looked at the weapons you can get for Necromunda? Have you looked at Skitarii and the Genestealer cults and all of that stuff? I mean, there are entire lines now within 40k and within like Necromunda that you could make entire armies out of, and no two units will ever look the same. I've seen some ridiculous Cordor, like, slash Mechanicus conversions for Kill Team. I've seen some absolutely, like, mind-blowing shit for Mechanicus recently. They weren't achieved by someone having to hack apart 18 monopose models and then creating Frankenstein's monster out of green stuff just to hold it all together. They were just swapping bits. Literally just taking a leg off one and sticking another leg on. We now have more variation, more weapons, more styles, more kits, more like bits available from Games Workshop in their boxes than we've had before. And on top of that, we have a bunch of monopose models that, if you're prepared to put a bit of effort in, and you're not just talking about a fucking head swap, you absolutely can convert if you want to. And people do. Some of the stuff that we're seeing now for conversions from people who like do dedicated work with this stuff it's fucking miles ahead of stuff that I used to see back in the day. And at this point as well, the vast majority of all these things are they're in plastic. Way back, if you wanted to convert a metal demon prince, I mean, good fucking luck with that. Go for it. Yeah, take a hacksaw to your massive chunk of metal. Same thing with this dreadnought. Perfect example. This dreadnought, right? Do excuse the paint job, he's Emperor's Children. It's also nowhere near finished. I would never attempt to convert this. I would never attempt to do a conversion on this thing, because if I drop it on my keyboard, it'll snap the desk right now. It is a solid, hefty chunk of metal. I've seen brave, brilliant people take like the sarcophagus on the front and move it up. There's no way in hell I'm going to attempt that. Not now that this has been like super glued together for 15, 16 years, 17 years. I don't want to think about it. It makes me sad. I wouldn't fucking try and convert that. You're off your face. Look at it. It's solid, hefty metal. It would be a right bastard to do. It's a monopose model as well. Funnily enough, metal monopose models from 17 years ago are a lot harder to kit bash and convert than, for instance, a plastic space marine. I mean, I didn't do anything with this because at the time I just wanted a chaplain. But I'm looking at this. This could easily can be converted into like Fabius Bile or something. I could knock that out in like a fucking hour and a half if I had the bits I needed. And it's a static model. It's a monopose model. You cannot customize the pose of this model. But it doesn't matter, because you can still do it if you fucking put your mind to it. Games Workshop aren't killing anything. They're not killing shit. The only thing that kills the potential for conversions is whether you're prepared to put the effort in. And looking at a bunch of monopose models and going, oh, well, I can't convert those because it's more difficult. That's no one's problem but your own. They're not trying to kill off third-party manufacturers either. Why would they bother? Third-party manufacturers are not competing with Games Workshop for full models. They're competing in terms of bits for models, but guess what? Games Workshop don't sell those fucking bits, do they? If Games Workshop sold all of the things you could buy on sprues separately, then I would lend credence to the idea that they do not want people making conversion parts for their products. But they don't. They don't do that. They don't provide that service. They never will provide that service, most likely. So why would they try and shut down someone who is not having an impact on their sales? If you want to convert 10 intercessors into something else, like I will be doing for my Emperor's Children, I cannot go to a third-party manufacturer and go, I would like to buy 10 intercessors and also some stuff to convert them with. I can't do that because they don't fucking sell them, do they? They just sell extra bits that I would use to make them my own. It's annoying, this article. It's annoying because it essentially boils down to like rose-tinted views of how Games Workshop used to be, whilst completely ignoring the fact that monopose kits have been around for fucking ages. Monopose models have been around for ages. The metal shit from back in the day was always monopose. People still converted that. We're getting more monopose models now? Maybe. But you can still convert them. It's not difficult, unless you make it difficult or you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, maybe it might be a little more tricky than just having a multi-part kit. Also, the idea of holding up multi-part kits as being the be-all and end-all in terms of converting or kit bashing, and the idea that a multi-part kit is somehow inherently superior to a monopose kit, No, it's not. It just isn't. It might be easier to mess about with, yeah, but the level of detail that can be achieved on a lot of the monopose stuff is impossible to achieve on a multi-part kit. The Death Guard stuff is a prime example of this. There are plenty of people who don't like the Death Guard stuff. My issue is I like being able to identify what stuff units have at a glance, although I've thrown that out the window for my Emperor's Children, so I'm a massive hypocrite for that. But, I'm still one of those people that likes the silhouette of an army, and I can't quickly identify stuff for Death Guard because it's busy. It's really busy. A lot of people really like that. They like the detail, they like the business, they like how heavy and sludgy and just full-on Nurgle the new Death Guard stuff is. You couldn't achieve that with multi-part kits because it would look garbage, because every model would have to have exactly the same detail, they'd have to have exactly the same bits hanging off them so that they're all lined up. You wouldn't be able to repose them anyway. If you want way more detail, then you need to reduce how posable it is. If you want ultimate multi-part goodness, then obviously you're going to want stuff that is a proper multi-part kit. But if it isn't, you can still convert the shit out of things anyway. You can still kit bash the shit out of things anyway. You can take bits from a third-party manufacturer and stick them on a kit that was monoposed because Games Workshop even provides you with the fucking tools to do it. God damn, I'm getting more annoyed as I go on. Look, what it boils down to is this person thinks that Games Workshop's amazing models are killing conversions. They're just full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no clue. I can only assume they do not convert or kit bash stuff themselves. They are looking at stuff and going, oh, that looks a bit trickier than I thought. I'm too intimidated to try. And assuming that therefore no one else is doing it. That as a practice, kit bashing and converting is just not a thing anymore. Bullshit. Take a 5-minute look through Warmonger's Twitter, through 40k Twitter, through any subreddit, through any fucking forum to do with 40k, and you will quite easily see instantly that that is not true. And that's not even talking about the fact that if you look at I think it's hashtag INQ28, if you look at some of that stuff, the stuff that the Inquisition 28 guys do is mind-blowing. It's ludicrous. It's ridiculous. And you know what? Half the shit I see under that hashtag is coming from monopose models that have been absolutely transformed in mind-blowing ways. They're not fucking killing conversions or kit bashing. It is just as easy as it was before, if not easier, because you have way more choice, you have way more in the way of third-party stuff, and they even provide you the fucking tools to do it yourself to begin with. Anyway, that's that. That is way longer than it needed to be, but I got riled up. And carried away. Thank you very much for watching. Click all the shit if you want to. You probably aren't even going to make it this far into the video because it's just 20 minutes of me losing my shit. I'll see you for the next one. Toodaloo.